Welcome to another video, the same every time, IGCSE Maths, GCSE Maths. We're looking at the kind of questions that, apart from the numbers, are the same every time. When you see these questions on your exam paper, you'll recognize them and you'll know that you've done lots and lots of practice and you will be able to get the correct answer, get yourself the marks, get yourself into the grades. It's the same every time, apart from the numbers. We're looking at right-angled trigonometry. So a trigonometry question will involve a right-angled triangle, and they will be asking us to find either a missing side or a missing angle. So in this first video, we're going to be looking at how to find missing angles. Here's an actual exam question, 2 marks. The diagram shows a right-angled triangle. Calculate the value of x. So we are finding that missing angle. Our first move is to label the sides. So first of all, we need to look for the right angle, and the side opposite the right angle, in this case the 14, is labeled h. We saw this before in the videos about Pythagoras' theorem. If you haven't watched those, then do watch them, because we might need to use Pythagoras' theorem and trigonometry in the same question. But the h is always the longest side in a right-angled triangle, the side opposite the right angle. And then we look for the side that has the right angle and the other angle. There's always another angle, the other angle that we're interested in, either an angle that they tell us or the angle that they want us to find. And the side that has the right angle and the other angle is called the adjacent, label it A. And then the remaining side is the side that's opposite the other angle, labeled O. In this question, the only 2 sides that we need are the A and the H, because they are the 2 sides that they have given to us in the question. So now we need to decide, trigonometry, are we using sine, cosine, or tan? And a lot of people remember this by the SOHCAHTOA. So SOHCAHTOA, like that. So we've got the A side and the H side. So we've got A and H. So that tells us that we are in the CA part of this. So cosine. We are dealing with cosine. And since we're finding an angle, we have to use what we call the inverse cosine. So cosine with a little -1 like that. A lot of people call it the shift cosine, or when we're using sine, shift sine or shift tan, but that's not the actual name. It's called the inverse cosine. But you do have to press the button called shift if you're using a Casio calculator. So inverse cosine, and then it's A divided by H. So A divided by H. So A is 8.5 divided by H, which in this case is 14. So to find the angle, it's the inverse cosine of the A side divided by the H side. Now, it's a calculator job, but you need to make sure that your calculator is in the right mode. At the top of your calculator screen, there should be a little D. And if there is a little D, you are in the correct mode. If there's a little R or a G, then you're in the wrong mode. So you need to make sure that your calculator is in the correct mode. On my calculator here, I have to press shift and mode, which is set up. And then if I press option 3, that's degrees, just to show that I'm working in degrees, and my calculator will give me the right answers. Do check that when you're at the beginning of your exam, because if you are not in the right mode, then you are going to get the wrong answers. So we just type it into our calculator like this. Shift and cosine gives me the inverse cosine, fraction button inside the bracket. Have a go at typing this into your calculator. 8.5 divided by 14. Put the second bracket on. And my calculator gives me this. I'll write down my full calculator answer. 52.61680. is my full calculator answer. And I'm going to round my final answer, 52.6, to 1 decimal place. That's a sensible degree of accuracy for an angle in degrees, and if you're doing the Cambridge exam, on the front of your exam it tells you to round angles in degrees to 1 decimal place. But always in this kind of question, when you get to the answer, go back and read the question again just to check that you are answering it to the required degree of accuracy, because sometimes rounding the answer is actually part of the question, and they will give you marks for that if they've told you, for example, round to 2 decimal places or the nearest whole number or whatever. In this case, they don't do that. Here's the next question, another exam question. 2 parts to this. And we've got the diagram shows a right angle triangle, ABC. So A, B, and C are the letter labels that they give to the corners or the vertices. So A, B, and C. And it says show that BC, length BC, so that's the missing side just there from B to C, is 75 meters. So they want us to show that that side is 75 meters. Well, there's no angle given in this question. We just have a right angle triangle with 2 sides given. So it's not going to be a trigonometry question. It's a Pythagoras theorem question. And we have to ask ourselves, you've seen the videos about the Pythagoras theorem. If you haven't, then you need to watch them now. We ask ourselves, are we finding the longest side, which is the side opposite the right angle, or one of the shorter sides? It's one of the shorter sides this time, isn't it? So it's square, square, subtract, square root. So square, square, subtract, square root. And hopefully that is going to give me, if I type that into my calculator, square root 125 squared. Try it yourself just to make sure that you can operate your calculator and get the correct answers. And that gives me, as expected, 75. It's a show that question. And in a show that question, you do need to be showing full working out. And remember, you have to kind of pretend that you don't know the answer. Part 2 of this question says calculate the angle BAC. So that's worth 2 marks. Part 2, calculate the angle BAC. Now, what do they mean by angle BAC? Well, if I start at B, just there, and I go to A, just there, and then I go back to C, it's the angle in the middle. So angle BAC is the angle in the middle just there. So that's the angle that they want us to find. So, as I said, same every time, very much like the last question that we did. If you want to pause the video now and have a go at this, go ahead. I will continue with this. What we must do is label the sides. The 2 sides that we're interested in, the 125 is opposite the right angle, so that's H. And the other side is the adjacent, because that's the side that contains the angle that we are interested in, the other angle, I tend to call it, and the right angle. So A and H, if we remember our SOH, CA, TOA, if we have A and H, then again we're dealing with cosine. So finding an angle is the inverse cosine. A divide by H, so 100 divide by 125. And calculator job, so shift cosine, inverse cosine, fraction button, 100 divide by 125. And I'm going to write down my full calculator answer here, 36.869899765. And for my final answer, I am going to round it to 1 decimal place. So 36.9 degrees, 1 decimal place. And of course, remember what I said in the last part of the question, or the last question. Always go back and read the question and make sure that they haven't asked you to round it in a particular way, because sometimes the rounding is actually part of your answer. So in this question, they just say calculate angle BAC. And I'm rounding it to 1 decimal place. If you're doing a Cambridge exam, they do tell you that on the front. And also, if you write down your full calculator answer and then round it to 1 decimal place, that's a sensible degree of rounding. Okay, another exam question. Pause the video, have a go at this one. Same every time, apart from the numbers. I'm going to have a go at this one as well, then you can restart the video and we'll compare our answers. JKL is a right angle triangle, so JK and L are the corners of that triangle. Calculate the angle JKL, so we go from J to K to L. And the angle that they want us to find is the angle in the middle there, the angle at K. So our first move is to label the sides. Right, well, in this case, the H side, that's not interesting to us in this question because they don't give us the length of the H side. We aren't going to need it. So the 8 centimeter side, that's the A, isn't it? That one has the right angle and the other angle, so that's A. And then the 10 centimeter side is the O, that's opposite the other angle, the angle that we're interested in. So remembering our SOHCAHTOA, so SOHCAHTOA, we have got O and A, so we are dealing this time with the TOA, so tan. If I'm finding an angle, it's the inverse. So inverse tan, tan with a little -1, and then opposite divide by adjacent. Remember, these are divide bys. So opposite was 10, divide by adjacent, which is 8. Calculate a job. Inverse tan is shift and the tan button, fraction button there. 10 divide by 8, and that's going to give me, hopefully you got the same thing, full calculator answer, 51.340197175, and then I'll round my answer to a sensible degree of accuracy, 1 decimal place. Thank you for watching. I do hope those videos were useful to you, and you can hopefully see that this kind of question is the same every time apart from the numbers, and when you see these on your exam you will be able to get the marks, get the grades. In the next video for this particular topic, we're going to be looking at using trigonometry in right angle triangles to find missing sides. Please do join me there. Yep, as usual, I will be back for the next video.